on, everybody? It's your old Pam with 2200 Taps. Dude, I don't know how I landed this guy. I am just super blessed that our paths have crossed. And I'm not even going to really introduce him because, I mean, his name kind of speaks for himself. But I will tell you, this guy, I'm learning to love him. He's from Australia originally. He's teaching me all the outback jargon and the stuff that we Americanize that we're not doing right. So I'm learning his ways and I'm loving it in every which way, from just his jargon to training, personal training. And with that, I want to introduce you guys to celebrity guest trainer or celebrity trainer Luke Milton. Luke, what's up, dude?
Hey, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for being here today. It means the world.
Well, mate, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the time. So thank you. I'm looking forward to chatting.
Totally. And we were talking a little bit before we hit record. I am digging your mustache. I know.
Yeah, I just want to apologize to the audience for the aesthetics. The facial hair is not usually there. It usually blows off in a strong wind. So we're making this one stick, but it's for a good cause. It's for Movember. We should all be supporting men's health. We're not as good at expressing ourselves as the other gender. So thank you very much, Movember, for being so supportive to men's health.
Absolutely. And I remember being active duty. We had so many guys join the movement, and those mustaches were not the most attractive. I'll just say that. Some were not as full as yours. Some were just like peach fuzz, and some that just, I don't know what they were growing, but it wasn't good. But I love the spirit. I love men rallying behind men. And if I could grow one, I'd do it, but I can't. But I still support you guys.
You can dye your hair as a girl. You can dye your hair.
Dye my hair?
Yeah, that's another part of it. And we've got movement with Movember as well. So just move every day throughout November, and you're participating and activating for some success behind just healthy lifestyles in general.
You would know that. I didn't even know that. That's why I learn something every day with you, man. I swear. But real quick, I want to kind of let everybody know, we met at the Adaptive Training Foundation here in Carrollton, Texas, right outside of Dallas. And before we talk about that fun and good organization and just the people there, the athletes, kind of want to do a quick little backstory on where you're from, how you landed in the U.S. of all places, but most importantly, how you took the right turn to Texas. How did this all go?
Look, it's one of those things. I'll break all those questions down. Firstly, I have always been infatuated with America. As a kid in Australia, growing up in Sydney, I always just loved all the movies that just, really highlighted America for what it was, the freedom that America has, the leadership that America has, and the quality of life that's just lived by so many over here. So I always just had this real awe about getting over to America. I loved Americans, and just always sort of just manifested that, I suppose, into coming over. Now, in the previous life, was a professional athlete. I was very fortunate to play the sport of rugby, and I was even more fortunate to represent Australia, the country where I'm from, and I'm super proud of being from there. So as that started to evolve, we got to travel the world. I got to be very fortunate with the travel schedule. Back in Sydney, Australia, I end up meeting a girl. So the story of the life, right? But I meet a girl, an American girl from the East Coast. Anyway, she'd been in Australia for 2 days of a 6-month study abroad program. Happened to be at a mate of mine's bar, where you can find most Australians hanging out at a bar on a Tuesday night. And anyway, met this girl, fell in love way too quick. We dated for the first 6 months for the 6 months of her study abroad. I still had a year left on my contract with rugby. She had a year left in a college that she went to in Washington, D.C. And so we didn't see each other for a year. Long story short, fast forward 12 months, and we had just played England at Twickenham. We were on a high. We'd won this amazing game, this amazing competition. I came through New York on my way to the Caymans to play in a world team exhibition game. And Kerry, my wife, my now wife, then kind of girlfriend, I suppose, she was in New York City looking for an apartment. Anyway, after we met up, I was supposed to be there for 3 days. I stayed for a couple of weeks. I went home and I retired and I moved to New York City. So that's in a nutshell, effectively, how I got to America. Fortunately, unfortunately, I don't think anything happens that's bad. I just think life happens for us, not to us. But it was around that 2009 time where we had that economic sort of collapse in New York City. So we both moved back to Sydney. So we were in Sydney, Australia for 3 years. And then we were in Los Angeles. Then we moved back to the States because Kerry certainly got homesick. And I definitely had come up with this concept training, mate. And I wanted to sort of, put it on the world stage, or at least compete with people that were doing some bigger things, and that's always America. So we decided to go and start the business and start a life in Los Angeles. We were in Los Angeles for 9 years, where we founded the first brick and mortar training mate studio in West Hollywood, California. We expanded that out to 3 to 4 studios in California. It's been named as the #1 studio in California, the #1 celebrity studio in America, and just got very fortunate to create a community and create a team. And it was just an extension off the back of our sporting sort of team. And that's what brought me to America. And the last part of the question, what brought me to Texas, is we've been so fortunate to experience some success with the business and to really sort of, grow a community, which I'm so proud of. And we wanted to scale it, and we wanted to get it outside of California as well. And Texas just seemed like such a great idea. I got to meet a few Texans. I think Australians and Texans get along very well. And we don't take ourselves too seriously. And Texas, the rate at which it's growing is absolutely insane. I mean, the growth in this state is just going through the roof, and it has no sign of stopping. And it just made sense. It made sense for us as a family. It made sense for us as a business. And it made sense just to spread the training mate love and get out. And we know a couple of people here, and we know a couple more people moving here. So it just made sense, and we love it.
And I love that you're not the stereotypical, and we were talking about this the other day, like Californian that California'd our Texas. You're like, No, mate, I'm from Australia. And then you kind of give me the story. I'm like, all right, you get a pass. Totally get a pass. No, like I love your energy. I love just listening to what you just said. Like, I want to go to LA where the competition is, and I want to see what we can do. And then you're the #1 gym in California, not just training, but celebrity training. And I kind of want to hit on that because, I mean, it's cool. It's like all these celebrities and this and that and the other. And we're going to get to a really cool question I'd like to just pitch at you, kind of, the difference between a celebrity and just an adaptive athlete. But before we get to that, I didn't know who you were when I saw you in the gym. I just saw this tall, handsome dude, spoke Australian. No, you didn't have the mustache then. But what sold?
Yeah, I was handsome then. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Not anymore. That ship sailed.
But what sold me on you, Luke, is when we were doing the ATF games. And you were on the ISO squat going up against Colin, and I don't know what or where this came out of, but you just dropped your shorts. You had this hot pink Speedo on that said mate with the stars of the Australian stars. And I'm like, who is this guy? And you're just like loving life. And I was more worried about Travis, who's sitting next to you in his wheelchair, who's like at junk level. I'm like, oh God, would be yo, dude. And you're just like pumping him out. And I'm like, I love this dude. I don't know what it is about him. And thankfully, we got to start training together. But before we really talk about that, I did a little homework. And I know you were on a TV show called Revenge Body. I don't know what you've done since then or before then. How did that come about? And just, I mean, geez, what a cool experience, just training these people who felt like they had nothing and helping them transform their lives,
Yeah, thanks, Pammy. Look, that was, Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian. It came about as far as Khloe had an idea to put who she thought were the top celebrity trainers in America or in the country and effectively deploy her resources out to people that were going through a bit of a tough time, hence the name Revenge Body. Now, that took a bit of a turn as we sort of got on with the multiple seasons, and the revenge doesn't have to be on someone. It might be on circumstances, on yourself, on procrastination, on whatever that may be. So it certainly took on a new meaning. But the effectiveness of the show, I'm just so proud of. we got to go out and work with people and work people through a transformation. It wasn't just physical. In fact, I think that the social and the mental transformations were actually even more impressive than the physical transformations. But you've got, some of the biggest names in the fitness industry worldwide, not just in America or not just in Los Angeles. We've got Gunnar Peterson, who I've, known of since I was a kid, you know what I mean? And looked up to certainly in the last decade since becoming a professional trainer. And now he's a very close friend of mine and having that resource to be able to chat to. But they're the caliber, Harley Pasternak, Simone Delarue, Lacey Stone, Corey Callier. Like, these guys are household names and on a show together. And I just felt so blessed to be included in that conversation, or to be at least mentioned in the same conversation as those guys who we all look up to. And then to be able to contribute a little bit to that, is something that I'm very, very proud of. And, kudos to Chloe. She's such a legend. She's, she really got behind that show and she really pushed it. And she was very generous with her time, her name, and everything else. And got nothing but nice things to say about her. She's a very special person. And I think that show transformed a lot of people's lives, the ones that we saw on TV, but the millions of people that watched that show over the 4 years that it was on.
Yeah, and I saw a little clip earlier today. I don't know if they were two sisters or they're two sisters. They came to your house. You invited them to the house, and you're sitting at the dinner table, and one was like she had a good support system at home, and the other didn't.
Yeah.
And before she could think about why she was breaking down after she said, I don't have anybody, before like any just pause or any thought, you jumped in quickly. You're like, you've got us. And
mate,
I'm just
that's what life's about. Like, I was so spoiled. That's Ash and Amber you're talking about, and they're twins, had a horrific life story. Horrific. And before I even go into like what a mate is and stuff, look, these are the cards that were dealt in life, right? And I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. And like, one thing he always says is life happens for us, not to us. Now, sometimes you get a bit of a shitty deck, right? Like you get a bit of a bad deck of cards that you got to play. And that's not an excuse to not live a full life. That's not an excuse not to live a happy life. It's not an excuse not to live a fulfilled life. And I think that you absolutely can do that. And I think that the minute I became confident enough to acknowledge that that's actually true, that's not hyperbole, or it's not just a saying, it's not a motivational sort of speech. That's real. We're in control of whatever life that we want to live. And if you can get a few tools that can help that, and if you can pass them on to people, which leads me into having a support network is everything. And for Amber and Ash at the house that night, absolutely they've got us and we're family, because sometimes that's all it takes. I believe a healthy lifestyle is physical health, social health, and mental health. Mm-hmm. But we've got to address all three of those topics really equally. And I think that a lot of different people or a lot of different companies are brilliant at addressing one, maybe two of those subjects. But to get all three of those subjects and to live them and to actually be passionate or maybe obsessed with living those three aspects of your life, then you've got a healthy lifestyle. Then you've got a life of fulfillment, and then you can put a smile on your face, but it's genuine. And yeah, it might hide a few scars. Absolutely. Yeah, it might hide a few bad days, 100%. But a smile can always be there, and it can be real. Mm-hmm. Those scars, those bad days, they're a part of our DNA, right? It's how we deal with them. It's how we react to that. It's how we proactively react to that. I mean, it's just, we're in control of what we can control. And the minute we get that and protect that, that's where we've got a life of happiness, and that's where we've got a healthy lifestyle.
See, I love that you just said that, because this podcast is about people sharing their stories of traumas and tragedy, but how they've been able to overcome it. And it's funny, I haven't met anybody really that has used, hey, it was exercise, it was fitness that really got me. And I'm sitting here thinking while you're talking, and I'm just like, wait, that's me right now. Yeah. Because let me tell you, before this class 22 at ATF started, life kicked me in the teeth.
Yeah.
And I knew it, and I've been there, done it, but it was just a different kind of kick. So I'm like, I'm not going to work. I'm going to immerse myself in this class, these trainers, these people, my health. And dude, I am seeing life in color again. I am the happiest I've been coming, and I'm just like, it's because of the fitness and the community and putting me first and everything that you just said.
Yeah.
all those tears, and it's like it's true. So
Mate, and it's kind of like welcome to being a human being, right? Like
yeah,
life does kick you in the teeth. It happens. And anyone that tells you that it has not happened to them is either an amazing liar or just the most naive person in the world. It is what it is,
yeah,
right? And it's kind of like, I did a post today. I like reflecting. And I know social media can be taken either way, right? It can be a evil, it can be great, it can be an enemy, it can be a friend, whatever. I just look at it totally objectively. I say, this is what it is. It's me being me. If you like it, great. I hope I can help. If you don't like it, I'm certainly not offended if you unfollow or whatever. I love everyone. So if I'm not for you, that's just the way it is. And that I would never reflect poorly on anyone else. That's just the way it is. But one of the posts today was kind of looking back on the last year and a half. And I think that exactly what you just said, it brings it up. I think most people, not all, but most people have been kicked in the teeth over the last 12 to 18 months, right? And another saying that I love hearing is that if we want to blame people for what they've done to us or for the ill will they've sought onto us or for the projection of victimhood that they've sort of thrown out there through hate or hate speech or whatever that may be, then we sure as heck want to thank them for the person that we've become because of that. All the scars, all the bad days, all the gossip, all the rumors, all the projection of someone else's insecurities make us who we are. And I don't want anyone else. I want to be me. And I want you to be Pam. I want you to be you. I want you to embrace Pam and love Pam because Pam's you and it's awesome. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, like that's who you are, like scars and all, right?
Yeah.
So the more that we can get active in loving ourselves, the more we can get accepting of whatever anyone else has done outside of our control is outside of our control. And then we just embrace who we are, what we stand for, our values, our integrity, always try and do the right thing by people, always live a life of love. And I don't want this to sound like there's some big motivational speech because it's not. It's just a choice of living life a certain way. And again, life kicks you in the teeth. I get it. Get up, get dressed, go to work. You know what I mean? And it's like, as you do that, the more and more you get into it, then you all of a sudden just think, oh, this is life. This is a journey, not a destination. And I'm in this every single day and I can wake up and I can look at the negatives or I can look at the positives. I can look at what's happened or I can live in the moment, and it's just is what it is. And that blueprint's been written for us before. Like this information's out there. It's just a matter of accepting it and then putting it to work.
Oh, I love it, man. I freaking love it. And I love you guys. I mean, the darkness that you guys have helped pull me out of has really it's like, man, I always get these in these pockets in life where it's like, man, I'm in a dark spot, I'm in a good spot, I'm in a dark spot. But this time it was dark. And I'm like, I just don't want to be here. I'm like, I was at that point again and I'm like, no. I made a promise to people that I love and to myself, and that's not an option. So thankfully with the gym, dude, and it's just magical, dude. And just not even just the gym, just the tribe and the people that support you and love you,
A gym's only 4 walls, right? Yeah. What Adaptive's got is more than 4 walls. That team's a family, that family's a community, and they are legit and they are organic and they are authentic as you can be. I got to know Adaptive Training Foundation through Colin. We met on an event, and I tell you what a special human being that guy is. Mm-hmm. Just a good guy, man. And that's about as big of a compliment as you can say about someone these days, right? And, we throw all these titles around. If someone calls you a good person, that's about as high as you get in life as far as I'm concerned. And that place, that company is filled with good people. Yeah. I got to meet Dave through Colin, and then I got to meet Taylor and Laura as well through the back of them, and then Campbell and yourself and everyone that's associated, and Travis and, everyone that's associated with that company is just a very special human being. And I think what they've got going on there is a movement more than anything else. And I can't wait for them to get some more exposure out into the world, because I think the world's going to be a better place from having Adaptive grow and expand itself.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Every single one of them, everybody that's affiliated with our organization, just hands down amazing. before we dive in deeper about ATF, I do want to kind of just hit, man, I can't really find like, you have so much information out there and a lot of it's like redundant. It's like, oh, he's the trainer of X, Y, and Z celebrities. But I'm like, I know there's got to be more out there. But one of the biggest celebrities that I saw, of course, was Khloe Kardashian, who she had you on Revenge Body, but you ended up being her personal trainer, one of them. And then Jesse Metcalf recently. And I'm like, okay, who else? Like, who else is he not telling us? Which you have to name them all. But I'm just like, dude, bravo for taking a chance in one of the craziest, like, cities you could possibly dive into in the U.S. and landing these clients, you know?
Absolutely. I think that, I'm super proud of that. I don't go away from that. I'm certainly not here to sort of, be or promote myself off the back of other people's names. I'm actually very proud of my clients, but I consider them all mates, and I have to get ready to start picking up some of these names I'm about to drop, but it is what it is. And I'm proud of the accomplishments from us, and I'm proud of their accomplishments as well. But I have been fortunate enough to work with the likes of Selena Gomez and Hilary Duff and Ashley Tisdale and Rachel McAdams, Jensen Button, a Formula One driver, which is so cool. And,
awesome.
and so many different people, Tyra Banks, Alan Leach, who is my best mate in the world. He's a star of Downton Abbey, star of Bohemian Rhapsody, Imitation Game, and the rest of it. And it brings me, and obviously Jess is a very close friend of mine too. Les Moonves, Julie Chen, all these people that in their own right have just been the ultimate successes in their chosen careers. And for me, it's been amazing to play a very small part in whatever their success may be, or more importantly, helping them get to their goals and objectives. And, to be able to do that in Los Angeles or in Hollywood or traveling with these guys or whatever it may be, has been really quite cool. But Alan, it's funny, as I said, him and I are basically family. We're that close. But he came to me one day after he'd just done Downton Abbey. They'd filmed the movie, he'd finished filming the series. And that, I don't know if people know enough about that, but that's independently the most successful TV show filmed outside of America in history. The most watched TV show ever watched outside of America. It's unbelievable.
I've never even seen it.
It's addictive. It's so cool, the storyline. I got right into it. I feel like I was an aristocrat now for some reason, just like watching it. But he basically came off the back of that and he's like, oh, Miltsy, I got this job where I'm, playing, a specific character in Bohemian Rhapsody, but I got to drop some weight. I got to get look. I'm like, oh, cool. How long have we got? He's like, he told me what the weight was, and I won't say it here, but it's a big number. And I'm like, okay, all right. I go, yeah, we can do it. I said, how long have we got? He goes, 6 weeks. And I go, wow. Keep in mind, this would take usually 6 to 12 months to do professionally. And I go, dude, why don't you just go home, grab a beer, grab some food, come back when you got 2 weeks to go and we'll get started. And he goes, seriously? I go, no, not seriously. Are you kidding me? We should have started this 6 months ago. But we got it done. He looked phenomenal. Probably should have won an Oscar for Best Supporting in that, but I'm biased. But things like that, and being able to be on their journey with them, being a part of seeing different people have little babies and, just the love that they sort of get to express to their own kids then as well. Ash Tisdale is one of those people, just a magical human being in general. But now seeing her become a mum is just super, super special. And just how good of a person she was. Obviously, small businesses went through it over COVID, and fitness industry was at the forefront of that. I mean, all these guys, Ash in particular, she just jumped straight in there and how can I help? And did the bunch of exposure interviews with different magazines and different media outlets. And Ash Green as well is a dear friend of mine as well from Twilight. And they just jumped in, and Jess Metcalf and the rest of them. And then it's like, how can we help? What do you need? And it's just like, this is cool. This is cool. This is more than a client, trainer relationship. These guys are mates. And I feel very, very, just feel grateful to have those people in my life.
Dude, and they say your friends reflect who you are, man. And it's just that's so cool to hear. That's so, because you won't hear that in the media. You're going to hear about all this other stuff. And it's like, no, let's hear about the good stuff.
Yeah, you know what? You actually make a really good point. And I think that so often a lot of these guys get criticized a lot, but you get to see one side of people, and then, they're human beings as well. They've got feelings, they've got values, they've got jobs to do, they've got things to do. And everyone that I mentioned in their own right's a very special person and has been very generous, to me, whether it be through time, through whatever it may be. They've just always sort of been there. And I hope that they would say the same thing about me.
That's awesome, dude. That makes me feel really good about how you guys continued on. I shouldn't say made it because you never really lost it, but continued on during COVID and all that craziness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, One thing I do want to hit on real quick, kind of shifting gears, going back to the Adaptive Training Foundation. This
Yep.
was class 22 is your first class, correct? That you
Yep.
volunteered for?
Full class. Yeah.
Yeah, and guys, you're volunteering your time. That is incredible, dude. That is, I mean, everybody does, but to see somebody, and there's a stereotype around celebrity, whatever,
Yep.
and celebrity trainer fitness. It's like, dude, this is kick ass, dude. And and I don't get hung up on the celebrity thing. I really don't, because I've been around many of them in my day.
Yep.
But to see people giving back like you and other people, just even regular civilians, to this organization more specifically is pretty cool. And when I was thinking about what I really wanted to ask you, um, when you coming on, I'm like, man, I don't know what to ask Luke. I was talking to Edwin, one of our guys. He's like, yo, why don't you ask him like what the difference is, training a celebrity versus an adaptive athlete? I'm like, that'd be cool. I want to be careful too, because it's not like a celebrity bashing session, right? It's just like, what is the difference, if there is a difference, that you see with somebody who has the resources, the availability, no really big adaptive challenges that we know of, versus somebody like Travis with no legs, or those stories. Like, what have you seen already, just in comparison, if there's anything?
Yeah, I think there's a few parts to that question. Number one is people are people. You see people as people. Celebrities have certainly got a goal. Usually a celebrity will come to me and be like, hey, I got to do a concert. I've got a tour coming up. I've got a movie role coming up. I've got a front cover of a magazine coming up. I've got Daniel Craig / moment coming out of the Mediterranean like he did in 007. I didn't play Daniel Craig, but I've got actors that are in the same sort of films as that want that aesthetic boom, right? So they've got very specific goals. Now, the goal might shift with an adaptive athlete, and they're like, hey, I want the independence of walking on a prosthetic. I want the independence of, being able to move from point A to point B. Now, different goals, but goals nonetheless. And I think that goal-driven people are productive people. And when you have this that we're aiming for, then it's my job to put a plan in place on how to get there. Now, every person, in my belief, is different. And that's where I think skill sets of different people come into play. You and I have been working with an amazing person, and it's like, okay, cool. How do we get the most out of this person? And I think that the quicker that you can start to work out what drives people and how to get them everywhere, whether they've got one leg, no legs, both legs, a lot of money, no money, abusive relationship, loving relationship, no matter what the circumstances are, the quicker you can get to getting into their why, pulling it out of them, and then using that to pull them forward, that's where I think the real special comes into it. So to answer the question properly, I see more similarities than differences between a celebrity getting ready for an A-list movie or an adaptive athlete trying to get back into life and get kicked in the teeth a few times along the way. They've both got goals. My job is to get two different people to the same goal.
Man, I love that. I feel like you've done this before. Like, you've had interviews before, something like that. You just nailed that,
Hey,
man.
you know what though? Same thing, right? Every interview is different. I think if you're authentic and you just speak whatever's in your mind, you're never going to go wrong.
Oh, totally. When it's from the heart, yeah, man. And it's true, because when you put it that way, you think about the celebrities, and like you just said, he had a 6-week time frame to drop
Yeah.
X amount of weight.
Yeah.
But you did it. I don't know how y'all did it, but you did it.
Yeah.
And then we have, our athlete Jamie. We give her a shout out, Jamie.
Yeah.
She just lost her leg 8 months ago.
In horrific circumstances, helping someone. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it's like, talk about getting kicked in the teeth, talk about positive mindsets, talk about being able to control your mental health. You're helping someone, and this is what happens to you. Now, what happens to your thoughts there? What happens to your life there? What happens to that? How do we get the best out of someone that was giving their best to try and make the world a better place, or to protect someone? How do we protect this person now? And is it our job to protect them? How do we get them to protect themselves? And then, things that you and I have come up with, together, in throwing some adversity in there, making sure that we can start to get Jamie to start to see the focus on herself again, put the blinkers back on and start to focus in on, hey, my whole life's been probably about other people, to be honest. I've been injured helping other people. Where's my direction here? Okay, let's throw a few little balls out to the side now, and let's distract, and get the focus still in there to achieve a PB on the inertia board yesterday. You know what I mean? And all these sorts of things, all these distractions going on, her individual goals were still getting hit, met, and beaten. Like she was beating her PRs with all these distractions going on. So again, that might be very different to motivating, an Alan Leach, a Jesse Metcalf, or a Rachel McAdams, or a Rachel, any of them who might have more control over their surroundings, more resources to reach in on, but same thing. It's finding their why. Why do you need to get ready for this movie? Why do you need to give your all to this character? Why do you need to do that? Are you doing it for your family? Are you doing it for your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, your mum, your dad? Are you doing it for you? What's that why? The quicker I can work that out, the quicker I can get you to your goal, or at least help you get to your own goal.
There's a lot of mutual respect, by far, when you put it that way, and just it all comes down to like how bad they want it.
Sure.
It doesn't matter who they are. It's you. It's the person. And I like that. There's one thing you told Jamie yesterday. I about died laughing, like literally pissing my pants. About these distractions. Yeah. You're like, yeah, and you call her James. You're like, yeah, James, it's like a 7-year tax return. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm like, where does he come up with his crap?
Yeah, it's so funny because you get to do these, and usually the thing that I get after that, oh my God, you can be serious, mate. Of course, we can be serious. Like, a lot of the things that we do are designed specifically for a reason. It's, if you want to try and make someone laugh, it's usually not to promote a stand-up comedian career change. It's to distract them and get them back focused on what they do. If someone swears, it's not usually because you're a vile person or you've got no manners. It's the shock value, and it gets people thinking away from the pain that they're in and back onto things. And then by the time they go back to it, they've already done the exercise, or they've already completed the rep, or they've already done something they didn't even think they could do. But if their mindset's just on, I've only ever done a minute before on the inertia board, I've only ever done a minute before, and we're trying to get them to do 5 minutes, not a minute 1, not a minute 2, not a minute 3, but blow these things out of the stratosphere, then you've got to use a bit different techniques to do it. And I think that distraction and laughter, getting their mind off what they're doing while still teaching them to be able to focus on the specific skill itself, that's where you get your magic,
I like that.
So in that point, so everyone can hear, we've got a client, Jamie, who had hurt her toe at the time. So what I needed to do, or what we needed to do, was get her mind away from the pain that her toe was in, and back that no matter what, we're achieving our goal, which was to set a PR for that day. So we had to get her mind away from the pain of the toe. So still with a niceness, and still with making sure that she's safe and in good hands, we kind of had to get away from that and stop thinking about that. We identified that she wasn't in any grave threat, that she wasn't, in a life-threatening sort of situation. But those pain barriers can really play with our mental state. So by distracting, by throwing some one-liner out there, a joke out there, ask her how she felt brushing her teeth today. What did you have for breakfast this morning? What, are you going out after this? What are you doing after this? Where are you going from there? Cool, now let's do our PR. Really different stuff than, oh, is your toe okay? You sure your toe's okay? Is it, oh my gosh, it might be broken, or it might be a strain, or it might be a bump, it might be a bone bruise, it might be, all these sort of negatives in there. Identify that it's not life-threatening, identify she can still physically do what she's going to do, and then trick her mind into thinking that there's a distraction somewhere else, bring her back to the task at hand and go for it. I didn't hear one thing about the toe after. She just absolutely smashed her PR, got to ring the bell, got to be a hero in front of her peers, got cheered on by everyone, and just felt $1 million after she achieved that huge goal.
See, and for my listeners, this is like a prime example of like what training with Luke is like. Like when I'm with you, Luke, and I'm training with you, you teach us why you're doing what you're doing. I'm doing this because of this. I'm doing that because of this. We want to do this because of this. And I'm just like, whoa, because it's making us all better. Not just Jamie in this instance as the athlete, but us as support trainers. And I don't really think I've ever had anybody do that with me as much as you do, and as in depth, I should say. And thank you for that.
Well, thanks for acknowledging it. I suppose I think it's when you care about something enough, you're going to find a way to make it work. And I think out of all the people that I got the list before that are now my friends who are quote unquote celebrity trainers or the top of that sort of industry, none of them are just good at exercise prescription. You absolutely should know how to squat. You absolutely should know where which angle your elbow should be at in a push-up or a bench press, or where your different parts of your body, or physiologically where you should be as a human, as an athlete, as a client when you're participating in certain exercises. That's a given. The magic, I think, or the X factor is working out how to get someone to go from good to great, or how to get that extra 1%, that extra 2%. As things, and that's all different for everyone, right? An extra 1% might be getting off the couch every single day, or it might be an Olympic athlete where an extra 1% can mean winning a gold medal at the Olympics or not qualifying for the final. So all of those things, everyone's got a different sort of 1% or 2%. It's just about sort of working out what that is, and then being confident enough in your theory or your hypotheses to actually get out there and put it into play.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I won't keep you much longer, but I do want to ask you a couple more questions, and I'll let you get back to your family. You are now a Texas resident.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. What is coming up for you? What's next on the agenda for you?
Yeah, we're opening a few studios in Texas. Initially in Dallas, we've got our first training mate and private training studio opening in Turtle Creek Village in early 2022. I'm thinking sort of late January, maybe early February, but I'm the eternal optimist, so I just say early 2022 now. So we've got that. We're sort of start the recruitment process, start all the niceties about getting up to open new studios, and then we're looking for a couple of other spots out here now. There's still some talk. COVID definitely put the entertainment, or put Hollywood sort of on the back burner for a lot of different people, production, talent, and all the rest of it. So those conversations are starting to happen again. There's a few transformation shows that have sort of been pitched to me lately. And if we can make it work with the right people, then I'll definitely do that again next year. There's some really exciting projects in that world that I love being a part of. And then just sort of contributing as much as I can to ATF as well, and just to make sure that I can try and be as much of a part as that as possible. But above all of that, that's the professional side of things. Just enjoying being a dad, learning from my daughter every single day. Trying to be a better husband, although my wife would say I'm miserably failing at that. But just being a family guy, and just enjoying taking a minute. I think the last decade of our lives has been so in turbo sort of fast forward mode that it's been nice to be here and to just reestablish the connections and reestablish why you do these things, and just get really comfortable and get really secure with the family again, and why we do what we do and how we do what we do and what we do it for.
That's awesome, dude. I wish you nothing but the best, Luke. I really do. You got a great heart. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this when it comes to just a genuine heart and what you do for people and give back and all that good stuff. And hell, jumping in on this cool little podcast. Yeah. And, I appreciate you. I really, really do. And
right back at you, Pammy. It's been amazing to get to know you, and I'm very grateful to have you in my life. So thanks.
Absolutely. Well, don't jump off just yet. I'm going to say goodbye to my listeners. But guys, I'm telling you, real quick before we do, where can people find you?
Social media handles are at Milts1, MILTS1, at Training Mate, And then all the other things, you can email me if you want. It's just luke@trainingmate.com. My phone number is, no, just kidding. It's just, all of that sort of stuff. I'll close the door. My dog just walked in.
Hey, puppy.
Yeah, he's around. You can find me on social media is the easiest way to communicate these days. So it's at Milts1 or at TrainingMate, or shoot me an email. I always try and get back to whoever I can if you've got any questions or if I can help at all.
That's awesome. Well, there you go, guys. So with that, we're going to sign off, and you guys get ready because we got some really cool people coming up. And with that, we are signing off. Peace out.